Good morning, January 2nd, 2025. A couple of things. I do not want you to feel like you have to have anything ready for this year. You don't have to have a vision board, a word of the day, a word of the year, a goal, a plan, or anything. The year has already started. Nothing's happening. Nobody's moving on without you. And so far, nobody has knocked on my door today looking for the plan. So I just want you to hear me say, if you sat on the couch all day yesterday and did absolutely nothing, and now you have a sink full of dishes that you have to go do, that's okay. So do I. If you've got laundry piled up because you didn't get to it yesterday, so do I. That's okay. I'm working on it. There's going to be days where we do not get a thing done, where the boxes don't get checked off, where we feel as though we have accomplished absolutely nothing. But that is probably external things dictating what's happening, and we should pay attention to our own clocks. So I want you to hear me say, I am not giving you legal, medical, psychological, financial, business, any other kind of advice. This is just me being me, talking on my channel. It's what I do. And if I say something that sounds interesting, check it out, look it up, ask other people, use your own brain. That is my saying that I say to my kids all the time, my real life biological children, and I will say it a lot on here. Use your own brain. It's why you have one. And it's very valuable. The universe has a bunch of wonderful, magical, cool things inside of it, just waiting for you to discover them. And you have to do that at your own pace. Your pace is the right pace for you. So, hear me say, it's okay if you don't have anything done. It's okay if you feel like already on January 2nd of this year, you are behind the 8 ball and you're never going to get caught up. Don't worry about it. You've got to start training your brain to know that the universe is really rigged in your favor. And good things will happen if you're looking for good things. Now, I myself, I am a Christian, and I try to always see where God's at, where God is mapping things out and where he has a plan. Now, I will say that this is also the universe, because in my belief system, God is the God of the universe, but that doesn't have to be your belief system. So when I say the universe, it could be whatever your belief system is. In my universe, it's God. So I want to start out by saying that, I'm a transparent person, and I'm not telling you because I follow God that you have to follow God, because you don't. You do not. That's the wonderful thing about God, is he doesn't want you to blindly follow him. He doesn't need puppets. But I'm not here to preach about God, okay? I'm here to talk about you as a person, your heart, your mind, your soul, your body, and how that relates to me and to the universe. You are valuable. You are important. Okay? The universe is like soup, and we all add flavor to that soup. And if you remove yourself from it, I don't get your flavor, and I need your flavor because I like flavor. That sounds really weird because I really am not a spice or seasoning person, but I do enjoy the taste of things, and I enjoy the pleasure of experiencing that. So somehow this got off on a weird food tangent, but let's go back. Also, you should know my hair is down, and when my hair is down, I'm super itchy because it's always touching me. And so when you see me with it in a bun, just know that I could not do the itching that day. Or I rewatched this video and watched how many times I touched my face or scratched my head because my hair is down. Okay, so I want to share with you a few things that I'm using this year as strategies to help me be fully present and to continue to grow in loving myself. So one of the things is I have 4 decks of cards, ACT, CBT, DBT decks, and then I also have the self-compassion deck. So I'm going to use those once a week to have a theme. And I'm going to keep these cards out for myself so that I can look around and be reminded, oh yeah, I need to be working on this, or oh yeah, I need to be working on that. My clock is going to ding, so I'm going to push pause. Okay, so I probably will do an introductory video again soon because, I'm rebooting, resetting, restarting, whatever you want to say. But I think that it's important to note that the reason I'm doing all these cards and such is because at 51 years old, 50 years old, I was diagnosed with FND, functional neurological disorder, which is a disorder that lives in a crack, in a crevice, in a canyon between neurology and psychology. And essentially, I'm going to give you the super short version. Basically, what has happened is over the course of my life, my brain has changed and it no longer communicates effectively with my body. The changes in my brain happen for various reasons. That is my brain, my lifetime, my precipitating factors are my own. Everyone with functional neurological disorder has different precipitating factors and different triggers. And so I can't speak for other people what has happened to them, but what I can tell you is my life created this perfect storm where I get to have FND. And FND is such a mysterious thing right now because there's not enough research, because for years and years and years, it was trashed. People were just thrown away. You get the diagnosis. Sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. Moving along. Go live in an institution or go live in your chair or whatever. That's not how this works here. Mama don't play that. Mama's going to figure it out. So one of the things that I know is that I did not have the easiest, most comfortable life. And I'm not going to get into it today. Maybe over the course of this channel, you'll learn more about me. But what I will tell you is I had a lifetime of trauma. Okay, so for some people, CPTSD doesn't exist because it's not in the DSM-V5-TR. But for me, CPTSD exists because I live with it every day. One of the ways to combat CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, complex means that you have experienced trauma, recurring trauma, over and over and over. For me, it was mostly from my childhood all the way to young adulthood, and then I had a break, and then I have additional trauma later in life. And so, oh my gosh, my hair is itching me everywhere. Anyway, so I believe in CPTSD because I've experienced it, but just know that it doesn't exist in any book. But we're working on that, just like we're working on FND. So, a lot of acronyms for me. CPTSD is one of the precipitating factors for my FND. It's not for everyone. Not everyone who has functional neurological disorder has experienced complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Not the same. Some people get FND. Their FND is triggered by a car accident or a physical injury on an athletic event. Some people get their FND kicked off by a traumatic event. One traumatic event just happens to be, I have a lifetime of them. Okay. In my lifetime, there was no school counselor. There was no yoga at school. There was no meditation at school. There was no mindfulness at school. There was nobody at school that actually recognized what was happening to me and did something about it. Not a one. Not ever. And so nowadays, somebody might notice and maybe report it. Nothing would have probably have been done. If something would have been done, I would have been probably reunited. And so at this point, I've aged out of the system. So I have to take care of me. So I'm taking care of me and I'm sharing with you how I'm doing that. And if you find something useful, great. If you don't, that's okay. You can just see what's going on like a voyeur in my world. But again, I want to remind you, I am not giving you advice of any kind. That's not what this channel is about. It's just about somebody loving themselves and loving you at the same time. Okay? And so if you find something useful, great. If you don't, that's okay. If you learn about a product that I'm using that you want to try, that's great. You can ask me where I got it from. I'll probably tell you in the process of doing the episode. Maybe I'll make notes somewhere. I don't know. I don't know where all this is going to go, but what I know is I care about you. I care about myself. I'm learning to care about myself, but I care about you and I care about other people who are experiencing life without a parent or caregiver to tell them these things. So I want to start out by talking about patterns. When difficult things happen, what do you do? What are your how do you react to difficult things? Okay. So in trauma, you have one of four responses. You have flight, fight, freeze, or fawn. Those are the 4 F's trauma responses. And so most people have a pattern when difficult things happen, when challenging things happen. Some people are like a bison and they go directly into the storm. Some people are like a bird and they also fly into the storm. Some people run away from the storm. Some people freeze and they just stop and let the storm go on around them. And some people pretend like there's no storm at all. Now, I'm not saying that this is what this particular card is talking about or what this theme is about, but how do you react to a difficult situation? Well, in the past, because of the life I lived, I would probably freeze, because what I learned from a young age was it doesn't matter what I do, the storm is happening, right? So initially I might have fought the storm, but then I learned you can't fight because there's always someone bigger than you, more powerful than you, and you will get hurt. And so if I'm going to get hurt during a fight, then I might try to run away from it. But what I also learned as a child is that you can't run away because you're a child and there's nowhere for you to go. And in my situation, I had plenty of family, but I was told never to tell or never to go to that family, that they were off limits. Those people that I thought were my safe people, I could not talk to. I was not allowed. So essentially, I'm going to lose if I fight. I'm not allowed to run away. So what do? I freeze. Now, some people might pretend like there is no storm. That's not me. I'm a truth teller. And so I would always say, there's a storm. Here it is. It's all the way around me. I can't do anything about it. So let me just stand here and do nothing. So why would I keep doing that over and over and over again? Well, for 18 years, I learned that was the only thing I could do. And so it was just literally habit, over and over again. That's all I can do. Somebody's angry, I just stand there and take it. I just let them be angry. I let them talk to me however they want to. If they need to hit me, I let them hit me. That is my role. That is how things were in my life. Those are the patterns that I observed, and those are the things that, those are the ways that I acted. And honestly, it wasn't healthy. And it got me further and further sick. And what did I get from it? Like, I felt like that was the control that I had. Honestly, that's what I thought, is like, I'm controlling what I can control, which is myself. And that is, don't move, don't speak, don't further incite, just stand there, deal with it, let them have what they need to have, and then get on with your life. And so that was the control that I was able to exhibit. And it also eventually people would say, oh my gosh, you give other people so much grace. You're so kind to other people, even when they're not kind to you. Like the most messed up things. So yeah, that's what I got out of it. I survived. I got survival out of it. All right. So now I'm thinking about patterns in the way I react when things are uncomfortable or when they are difficult. So that's something to be looking at this week. How am I reacting when things get difficult, when things get challenging? Another reaction is to plan to fail. Like I do have that catastrophic thinking that it's never going to work out. It's never going to get better. So all or nothing thoughts, catastrophic thinking. So today or this week, we're going to pay attention to the times when I'm in all or nothing mode. So when my thoughts are, it's never going to get better. This is the way it always is. If I hear myself saying to someone out loud, you always or you never, those are important things. Those are flags I need to be watching for. And when I say that to myself, like, you are such a loser. You always mess things up. You never plan. This is your problem. You never do this right. Those are flags for me to pay attention to. And then I need to stop when I see that flag and say, is it really that bad? Is it really always? Is it really never? Am I really that bad of a planner? Am I failing because always, always and never are very extreme words. And normally things are not always and never. Normally they could even be mostly, but not always and never. I need a drink. Sorry. So I need to see a little bit more gray and not as much black or white. Not as much always and never. Look for more sometimes. Okay, then we're going to talk about dialectics. This is the gray. This is where, when we're in conflict, we're going to find something to agree on. This is a very, very difficult thing for a black and white person. For a person who has been boxed in and told, like, so for me, my entire childhood, I was told how I will feel, where I will share those feelings, when I will share those feelings, and who I will share those feelings to. And at no other time are feelings appropriate. And conflict in my growing up home was essentially an adult screaming into a child's face and then being violent with them. Whether that was, hitting, throwing things, pushing, shoving, kicking. Those actions were the way conflict was. Conflict was screaming, two adults screaming at each other, one adult being violent after the screaming began. So that's what conflict was when I grew up. Then there was never a sit down. Okay, we've got to figure this out. We're going to learn to get along. Never happened. So conflict was never appropriately dealt with in my growing up home. So then when I got married and I married someone not the same, probably very opposite of me, we have a lot of conflict. And so we do a lot of, hollering, yelling, whatever, but no violence, no screaming, no. Sometimes we do, like slam our hand down. Not anymore, but we may have done that in the past, but we never threw anything. We never raised a hand. None of that, because we're very conscious of the way that affected me. But definitely polar opposite sides, and there wasn't a lot of middle ground for both. So I did a lot of the compromising. Now I have a partner who's willing to sit down at the table and compromise with me. And that's very healthy. We talk about things. We like take notes if we need to. But we're very conscious about the other person and how they're feeling. Like, do they feel heard? Do they feel as though their needs are being met? Things like that. So definitely a new way of dealing with conflict for me. Procrastination, breaking down tasks, getting started, getting things done. And then we need to have like 5 positive qualities that somebody has. So whether it's myself or someone else, I'm looking for 5 positive things all the time. So I'm scanning for 5 positives, which helps break that all or nothing negative attitude down. So that's something we're going to work on this week. So noticing patterns in how we deal with difficult situations. And then when things are black and white, find the gray. And then look for 5 things that are positive about others and self. And then being compassionate, responding to myself with kindness and care rather than judging myself. So this is a new concept for me because people did not deal patiently with me, and I was dealt with very heavy-handedly. And I know that, like, so maybe you're thinking, well, you're an adult, you're 50, like you've lived your whole life away from all that. But the thing is, I was never taught in therapy or anywhere else how to overcome that. So I was trapped inside that glass box my whole life. And so now I'm learning that it's okay for me to give myself compassion. I have a very, very mean inner critic. My inner critic, the voice that's in my head that talks to me when I make a mistake, you don't even, like, that inner critic would scare you. That inner critic has scared my husband, and he's a very strong man and very unafraid of most everything. But my inner critic is a very frightening inner critic. And so I have had to learn to love myself and stop criticizing myself. When I make a mistake, I've learned I have to say, you made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. What can you learn from this mistake? And it doesn't come easy. It doesn't. It's very hard for me to love myself when I'm not perfect. And I'm not perfect a lot. So it's very difficult for me to love myself. Also, it taps into parts of the brain. So self-compassion taps into parts of your brain that can regulate emotions and improve our well-being. So treating yourself with compassion and deeply inside of yourself, appreciating what's good about you. So there's where those 5 things come into play. It helps regulate, and it also helps nurture a very different feeling than a hate feeling. And hate does destroy, it kills, it's not healthy. When you hate yourself, that's even worse. So give yourself some compassion. Think of those 5 things, 5 positives about yourself. Try to do that every single day this week. This is to myself, by the way. This is not to you. If you want to do it, great. If you find it useful, great. But this is me reminding myself. I'm going to look for 5 things this week, every day, to be compassionate. 5 positives about myself, 5 positives about others, like someone else. Could be a different person every day. Could be 3 different people every day, depending on how much interaction I have. I'm going to look for the gray area, and I'm going to stop using words like always, never. And then I'm going to remember to check out those flags where I deal with a difficult situation. Am I freezing? Or am I being assertive for myself and saying, please don't talk to me that way? I deserve as much respect as you do. Or please don't move towards me in a certain way. Like, I have to learn to speak up for myself. So those are the things I'm going to work on this week. I invite you to join if you want. If you don't, great. I still think you're amazing. I think you should think you're amazing. I want you to love yourself, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And if you're not loving yourself healthily, remember those 5 things that you should do, or whatever, 4, whatever. Yeah, strategies. So there's that. Once you love yourself and you love your neighbor, live in peace. Live in peace. Use your own brain. Don't use somebody else's brain. Think for yourself. Use your own brain. And then just go. Go be and do. Be you. You're amazing.